From Creamer Media in Johannesburg, this is the Real Economy Report. The Johannesburg Development Agency has refurbished the culturally significant Chancellor House in the Johannesburg inner city. Creamer Media was at the unveiling of the building.
The original legal offices of former President Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo at Chancellor House, where a thriving practice was located in the 1950s, fell into disrepair over the years and was an illegal dwelling for 68 people. The city of Johannesburg expropriated the building from the landlord who wanted to build a parking lot on the land, and the JDA started work on the site.
We started construction in September last year, towards the end of September last year. And we sit today with the building being practically complete. We were fortunate enough through our procurement processes to get quite a good sort of medium-sized contractor in Dryden Projects who had quite a bit of experience with restoring buildings, not necessarily buildings of a heritage nature, but restoring buildings. Often it's actually easier to start a building from scratch than to work with a building that's already there. And so to that extent, we were quite fortunate and they've done a wonderful job. The contractor was Dryden Projects, as I said. On the architectural side, we appointed sort of a young firm of architects, Gandhi Maseko Architects, who also had some experience with heritage restoration work. Archway Projects were our project managers on the project. The structural engineers who, a lot of credit must go to them, because as I said, initially when they got on board, the view was leaning towards the demolition of the building. And so we got Paxton to come in and do another assessment, and they could find ways of basically lightening the load on the building structure to the extent that with underpinning and supporting the building, we could actually retain it. So essentially, the very first thing was to assess the building, and at that point, the opinion by the owners and the first bit of work that we did ourselves pointed to the need to demolish the building. We then reassessed that with a different structural engineer and sort of looking at creative ways to try and retain the building. And one of them was really a total demolition of the existing roof, which was basically non-existent, but the structural elements of that roof, and it was a much more heavier roof, so to replace that with a more lightweight structure and introduce a system, a structural support system of beams and so on to support the roof and support the building. So quite a bit of the work, apart from the roof, we also did the external canopy was totally demolished. It was a concrete canopy, and quite important from a heritage point of view to retain that canopy, and that was basically also replaced with a much more lightweight cladded structure with the appearance of concrete. There had been a lot of fire, a lot of water ingress into the building, and so the stairwell, the staircases, there was a lot of structural repair that had to go in just to get the building into a habitable state.
Totaling 7 million rand, the project is almost complete and awaits the installation of the exhibition on the ground floor and aims to secure a tenant for the first and second floors.
We are grateful to the benefactors that made it possible for the building to be built. But we don't want it to be a non-living place.
Other news making headlines this week includes an incrementally launched concrete bridge to ease traffic congestion. Rockler develops a range of supplementary products to enhance its core range of precast concrete offerings. And government wants Transnet to more than double its local content of new locomotives. Consulting engineering firm Oricon is finishing off the final minor details on the new concrete flyover at the R21N1 interchange in Centurion, which forms part of the Gauteng Freeway Improvement Project.
The bridge had to go over existing traffic lanes, basically 6 lanes on the N1 and also 6 lanes on the R21. And we, using the incrementally launched method, we could construct the whole bridge on one side of the bridge, as it were. And the bridge was built in segments. There were 18 segments in total, ranging from 9 meters in length to 16.5 meters. So each week a segment would be constructed, and when the concrete had reached a certain strength, that segment would be pushed along, as it were.
While concrete products manufacturer Rockler is primarily focused on manufacturing products such as culverts, electric reticulation poles, precast bus shelters, manholes and bulk piping, it has developed a range of adjacent products to augment its existing product range.
The first that we actually chose was to go for head and wing walls. Now really, head and wing wall is a product that fits onto the end of a pipe or a culvert stormwater system, and it just provides support for the ground, the backfill, and also prevents any washout from the pipe as it conveys stormwater through the system.
South Africa's state-owned freight logistics group Transnet, which plans to materially expand and modernize its diesel and electric locomotive fleet over the next 15 years, has been set a target of more than doubling the level of local content in these vehicles.
So we are designing an ambitious fleet renewal strategy which will see us procure consistent and significant quantities of both electric and diesel locomotives annually over the next 15 years. This will make South Africa one of the most strategic markets for global locomotive equipment manufacturers, particularly in relation to heavy haul electric models.
That's Creamer Media's Real Economy Report. Join us again next week for more news and insight into South Africa's real economy.